today I'm going to make a winter wreath. I'm going to start out using a 24-inch white iridescent pencil wreath. Now, the products that I'm going to use in this wreath all come from Trendy. Trendy is a website business that my daughter and son-in-law own, Carrie and David Martin. All of our tutorials we use supplies from Trendy. Now, I'm going to put all the supplies that I used in this wreath in a kit to make it easy for you to purchase. But I'll go ahead and give you the individual supplies, and even after the kits are sold out, we'll leave the tutorial up because you can apply the instructions to this wreath to make, lots of other kinds of wreaths. Just choose different colors. So this wreath is XX751150. Now our 24-inch wreaths measure 15 inches across the widest frame, but with the addition of mesh, ribbon, and other items, you wind up with a wreath that's 24 inches or greater. Our focal point is going to be this metal sign. It's light blue and white. It's got snowflakes on it, and it says, "Let it snow somewhere else." It has a little burlap string for hanging. It's about the size of a car tag, but probably when we attach it, we'll get rid of the burlap string and maybe use the holes. It has a hole in each corner. We'll use that to attach with chenille stems or floor wire or something. I'm going to use two different kinds of mesh. One is a silver with what's called a matte foil. It's not that bright, shiny color. It's more of a glossy color. It's polypropylene, and the number is RY850099. It's called Gray Matte Silver. It's 10 inches and 10 yards on a roll. Also using a white with silver mesh, and the number on it is RY850098. It's white with a matte silver mesh. It's also 10 inches and 10 yards on a roll. Now, it won't take all of the two rolls completely, but it will take more than one. I'm going to do a ruffle technique. And I've got 4 ribbons picked out. And I was just going to show you, when we go to market, Carrie and I sit down and we pick out all of the different supplies that we're going to try to use for wreath kits throughout the year. So we go to market and we pick out our ribbons and our mesh, and we get it all ordered and exactly what we're going to need with the exact number. And as you can see, it just never works out that way. You'll wind up with, like this ribbon, for instance, didn't come in. Maybe it got dropped from the company, or it came in and we sold it on the website, but things like that happen. So we have to regroup and just change our plans. So our prettiest ribbon is this gray snowman ribbon, and he's got, it's assorted snowmen. Some have earmuffs, some have top hats, some have stocking caps, but they have a little bit of red in them. So we wanted to use some red accent. So this ribbon is 1.5 inches. This ribbon is RG0168824. And sometimes you'll find some of these items on the website. Sometimes we order enough for our kits, and if we have some extra, we put them on the website to sell. And sometimes we have just enough for our kits. The snowman ribbon, the gray snowman ribbon, and we have it in other colors like light blue, mint green, white, black, several colors. It's RG87415X, and it has a chenille edge trim. I like that. It's kind of a snowy look. And then our other 2.5-inch ribbon is black, and it's got "Baby, It's Cold Outside," and it has snowflakes on it. It's RG01545. And then we have just a light blue snowflake ribbon that's 1.5 inches, and the number on it is RG154814. So the first thing I'm going to do is get my mesh cut. The first thing I'm going to do is cut my mesh. I'm going to cut 2 rolls at the same time. And I'm using this self-healing cutting mat. And if you're interested in that, this is a great way to cut your mesh. It has markings on it, and it'll protect your table. And I'll give you a link for that in the description. If you're following us on Facebook, we hope that you'll like our page while you're here, and we hope that you'll also follow us on Instagram. We're always trying to get our Instagram followers up, so if you'd follow us on Instagram, our name there is Trendy_tree. So I'm going to cut my mesh, and there's 18 twists on my wreath. So I'm going to cut my mesh in 15 inches, and I'm going to apply 2 ruffles in each twist. So I'm going to go ahead and just lay my mesh out and cut it in 15-inch lengths, and I'm going to cut 2 rolls at the same time. I'm using a rotary cutter. This is a great time saver, and I'll give you the link for that also. This one is a 60 millimeter, and you can get blades. You can change out the blades when it gets dull. Oops, sorry. So I'm just cutting my mesh, my ruffles, 15 inches. I'm just cutting 2 rolls at the same time. And like I say, it won't take all of the mesh, but it takes more than a roll, but it doesn't take all of the 2 rolls. And I need 18 pieces of each color. Okay, I've got my 18 rolls, 18 pieces cut, 18 of each color. And you can see about how much I had left over. It's not much. If you wanted to keep cutting and, add, extra ruffles in, you could do that too, just to use it up. We're going to take our pencil wreath and kind of get our twist all out of the way. And I'm going to start working, I'm going to push these center twists to the inside. I'm going to start working from the outside on this wreath. If you're watching on Facebook, be sure and let us know where you're from. And if you have a business link, put your business link out there, because you never know who might be watching that might be interested in whatever it is product that you create or sell. My door is a dark chocolate brown, so I'm going to start. You can do your ruffles any way that you choose, and these colors are really very similar, so I don't think it would matter. We're going to put 2 ruffles in each twist, so you could put white on the bottom and silver on top, or vice versa, or just alternate them. It's not going to matter, but for my wreath, I'm going to put silver on the bottom and white on top. So I just lay the mesh down to make the ruffle, just kind of smooth it out. And I'm going to gather right up through the center of the mesh. Just kind of pull that mesh to me, and we'll just scrunch that up and make a ruffle. And that's what your ruffle looks like. Now I'm working by myself today, so I'm just going to take a clip and put on that ruffle, and I'm going to make my second ruffle. So I'm going to take the white, lay it out. You want to lay it out to where it rolls up like that. Smooth it out, and just go right up through the center of the mesh and scrunch it up. And make your second ruffle. So now I'm going to take my first ruffle, and I'm going to take my gray ruffle on the bottom, my white ruffle on top, hold them together. This mesh is really stiff. And I'm going to start on the outer ring and just close that tie around it. Just give it a couple of turns. And that's a ruffle technique. So I'm going to continue to work all the way around that outer ring. I'm going to do a gray on the bottom and a white on top. But you can do it any way that you want to. I don't really think it would matter if you wasn't even paying attention to what color you were picking up. Let me get a bigger clip. Y'all don't pay any attention to my hands. We have a new puppy and he's just tearing my hands and arms up. Now, if it's easier for you, you can go ahead and make a ruffle and attach it. I'll show you how to do that. We'll just make a ruffle. And if you want to, you can just go ahead and instead of using a clip, go ahead and put it in your twist. I wouldn't twist it, but maybe like one time, you know, just to hold it. Make your second ruffle. Now, in this case, I'm going to undo that twist, lay that second ruffle down, and now I'm going to go back and twist a couple of times, really kind of tight. Okay? That may be easier than trying to fool with putting a clip on it. Okay, now there's our wreath after we've gone all the way around the outer ring with 2 ruffles in each twist. So now we're going to come back to the inner ring and do the same ruffles. There's 8 twists on the inner ring. Looks like I counted. Looks like I overshot and cut a couple of too many ruffles. That's okay. Okay, now there's our wreath after we've got 2 15-inch ruffles in each twist. We've gone all the way around the outer ring and all the way around the inner ring. And you may have to, take your wreath from the back side and kind of push those ruffles out toward the front to kind of open up that center. Now you will have some raveling with mesh, all mesh ravels. And of course, the more cuts you put in your mesh, the more raveling you will have. But with these 15-inch pieces, you have less raveling than if you cut smaller pieces. Now, I would not advise taking a 21-inch mesh and cutting it, splitting it down the middle and making 10-inch pieces. That would just, result in too much raveling. And someone asked me the other day, was there anything that you could do to keep mesh from fading? Well, 99% of the mesh products are made out of polypropylene, and that's plastic. So if it's outside and the sun hits it, in time it's going to fade. And it's difficult to know how soon it will fade. It all depends on the weather, the climate, how much sun it gets. But for the most part, I don't have that much trouble with it fading. But now I don't leave something on my door more than a couple of months and then I change it. So if I hung something out there and left it for a year, yes, or 6 months probably, it's going to fade. And again, it all depends on how much direct sunlight it gets. So the next thing we're going to do is cut ribbon strips. Now I have the 4 different styles of ribbon, and I'm going to cut my strips 13 inches in length. So let me cut that and I'll come right back. I've got my ribbon strips cut for my wreath. Now you can put ribbon on your wreath a lot of different ways. You could use strips, bows, a combination of either. So there's 4 rolls of ribbon that will be with this kit. So, you can just do that by your preference. I did not want the red to be too overpowering. Of course, it's just 1.5 inches wide. And on the 1.5 inch ribbons, I just cut them at an angle. I wanted more of the blue snowflake ribbon to show. So I cut 18 pieces of red because there's 18 twists, and I cut 18 pieces of blue. and I went ahead and cut up the rest of the blue ribbon, which gave me like 10 more pieces because I want to use more of the blue. So in some twist, I'll use 2 pieces of blue and 1 of red. And then on the Baby It's Cold Outside ribbon, this is not a real thick ribbon, so I cut 22-inch pieces. And what I'm going to do, is fold it and make a 5-inch loop with like a 6-inch tail. And I'm going to do just kind of loops and tails. That's sort of what that will look like. So in this twist, I used 2 pieces of blue, 1 of red, and then the black. And I want to, when you put your loop in there, you want to be sure and fix your tail so it's showing right side up. I decided that I think, of course you can may change it before we get to the end of the wreath, but I think I'll take the gray ribbon with the snowman and just make a big bow to put in the center, or from the bottom or the side or somewhere. And the way to chevron the ends of your ribbon, I'll show you on this scrap piece. You just take your ribbon and you fold it lengthwise, and then you fold it again, and then you cut along that folded edge. And then when you fold it out, you've got a nice finished end on your ribbon. So I used 2 pieces of blue in this one, so I'm going to skip a twist. So I'm going to take the red and I'm going to fold it, get my center, pinch it together, and then I'm going to take a blue and fold it, get my center, okay, and then I'm just gonna lay that down right there. I'm gonna take the the black Baby It's Cold Outside and fold it, and then I'm gonna make a 5-inch loop. I'm gonna hold all of those together like that, put my blue on top. Now I'm going to open up my twist. You will see people that will attach the ribbons, without opening up the twist. I've done it both ways. I don't know. You just have to do whichever way you like the best. The last wreath I made, my ribbon seemed to stand out a little too far. So on this wreath, I'm going to untwist my twist and lay my ribbon cluster right down on top. Alright, I've got to back up, y'all. Since I cut these pieces 22 inches, I was not able to cut 18. So I'm going to start out using the black in every other twist. So in this case, I only have the blue and the red. But I've got my twist open, and then I'm going to secure that in the twist and close it back, and then just kind of spread that ribbon out a little bit. I like to kind of curl those edges under a little bit. Okay, so in this next one, I'm going to have red on the bottom. I'm going to have 2 blues. And 1 black. Okay. And then I'm just going to open up that twist, that next twist. Make sure my ruffle doesn't pop out of place. Lay that cluster down and secure that back 3 or 4 turns, because this will be the last thing that I'm putting in this twist. I'm going to fluff that out and make sure I'm going to twist my black ribbon to make sure that my right side is showing. I'm just going to spread those ribbons out a little bit. Okay. And I'm just going to keep working around the wreath. So I'll use the black ribbon in every other twist, and I'll use 2 blues in every other twist until I run out of ribbon. Can you see that? So I've got my ribbons and loops on the inner ring, and now I'm going to move to the outer ring. I've got to go get a Band-Aid and finish up the outer ring. My math never works out right, so I'm down to my last twist, and I have enough to do 2 blues, 1 red, and a black. So you do that. Okay, I've used all of my blue ribbon. I have some red left, but I don't want to put any more red in it. But I have some black left, so I can hang this on the wall. Let me back my camera up a little bit. That's what the wreath looks like so far. And sometimes you have to hang it on the wall to kind of get a look at it to see if you need to add anything else. So I'm going to hang it where I can look at it better and see if I need to add in any more black. I was able to go back and cut 5 or 6 more pieces of black, so I went back and added in some black ribbon to a twist that I didn't have one. Now, not every twist has a black ribbon still, but that's okay, it's enough. I did kind of stay away necessarily from adding some extras to the bottom because I'm going to have my bow down there. And I made a hanger just using a chenille stem. That kind of helps you keep your wreath centered or where you want to put your sign. So if you've got your hanger, then you will be able to kind of know where you want to place your sign. Now the sign is metal and it comes with 4 little holes already punched in it, and it comes with a burlap string, but I'm not going to use that string. I'm going to use a chenille stem and put one in each one of these little holes. And you don't want to cut your chenille stems in half because you're going to need that extra length, because you don't want your sign buried down in the wreath. You want to kind of let it stick out, let it kind of lay on the top, on the front. And of course you can put it on the side, or wherever. But I'm going to kind of put mine in the center And like I say, I'm just going to leave that burlap string there and kind of move that out of the way. Try to. And you want to secure your sign to the work wreath frame. Like I say, find your center point, and you may want to hang it on the wall and kind of play with the position of your sign before you secure it well. But you want the sign to kind of rest on the top. You don't want it smushed all the way down in the mesh. But just kind of wiggle it down in there a little bit and kind of reach your hands through from the back and get your chenille stem and connect it to the work wreath frame. Hindsight, as they say, is 20/20. I am going to get that burlap string off. It's just in the way. Okay, so there's the sign. So I would just suggest don't tighten your sign down too tight until you're pretty sure of its placement, so you'll have some way, to move it around. You can always make the back of the wreath neater after you're done. So I'm sorry, I'm holding that kind of crooked, but and you'll have to fluff your ribbons more than once. So now I'm going to make a bow with the snowman ribbon, and I'm thinking, since I don't have a black ribbon to go right here, that maybe I will put the bow to the side. So we're going to make that bow. I'm going to use the bow dabber for this ribbon. Now, you don't have to use the bow dabber. You can make a simple loop bow or even a shoestring style bow. This is a little bit quicker for me, and I'm going to do that since my tutorial is a little bit longer. So the first thing I'm going to do, the bow dabber is this plastic part. My husband put it on this board for me, just to make it easier to handle. And I have a tutorial that shows you how to make this board. But we're going to start with, I'm going to put the ribbon in right side up and just leave about a couple of inches on this side. Now I have other tutorials using the bow dabber, so if you can't see me well on this one, I can give you a link to some other tutorials. So I'm going to make about a 14-inch bow. So I made a loop on the right side. Now I'm going to twist my ribbon to get the right side up and make a loop on the left side. Okay, so these loops are about 7 inches. So I've got a 7-inch loop on each side, so that'll wind up with a 14-inch bow. I'm just going to continue to make loops, and I twist my ribbon each time to get the right side up. Twist. So that's 2 loops on each side, and I'm twisting the ribbon to bring the right side up. Okay, so I've got 3 7-inch loops. I'm going to go ahead and put 4 loops on each side. This is going to be a big bow. I want to keep my loops all the same size right now. Okay, so I've got 4 7-inch loops on each side, and this is just a little one that you can slide down in there to kind of press that stack down. Now I'm going to make about 3 more loops, but I'm going to make them a little smaller. They'll be more like about 6 inches. Twist the ribbon, get the right side up. You want to twist that ribbon to get that right side up each time. The bow dabber just helps you hold this. This is quite a pretty thick stack, so that just makes it a little easier to hold. So now I've got 4 7-inch, 2 6-inch, and I'm going to do one more 6-inch on each side. Okay. Now then, I'm going to take my wand and press that down again. And now I'm ready to end my ribbon off, but I need a little center loop. So I'm going to twist it, get the right side up, and I'm going to come back over one more time with about a 3-inch loop. I'll hold my board up where you can see that. It's about a 2 to 3 inches there. I'm going to press that down one more time, and now I'm going to end off my ribbon. I'm going to leave a tail of a couple of inches. Whoops, pull my loop out, that's okay. Okay, so now I'm going to leave that for right now, and I'm going to cut my tails. I'm going to make my tails about 15 inches, so I'm going to cut a 30-inch strip. And I think on this bow, I'm going to do 2 tails, or 4 tails, so I'll cut another strip. Okay, I'm going to chevron the ends of that ribbon, so I'm going to just put the ribbon together, fold it lengthwise, and cut on that folded edge. Okay, and I'm going to do the same on the other end. Okay, and let me get a chenille stem. Oops, sorry. I'm going to take my ribbon, my tails, and find my center. So I'm just going to fold that together. And there's my center. So I'm going to gather those up just like that. Now I'm going to ease my stack out of the bow dabber, and I'm just going to ease that up, and I'm going to keep it all stacked up. You can see how the ribbon the layers are all stacked up. Gonna hold that, take my tails, put that on the back. Now I'm gonna take my chenille stem. I'm gonna go right over the front of that, and I may have to use 2 chenille stems because this is a pretty thick stack. But I'm gonna bring that to the back. Keep that ribbon stacked. I wanna compress that stack as much as I can. Now I've got my chenille stem on the back, and I'm going to twist that to secure it. Okay, so now I've got 4 tails coming to the front, and now we're just going to fluff the bow. So I'm going to kind of stack it up there. And I'm going to start fluffing my bow. I'm going to start from the bottom, fluff out a loop, pull one to the top, one to the bottom, and a couple to the center, to the middle, and then go to the other side and do the same thing. Pull a loop toward the bottom, one toward the top. Just going to separate those loops and then come back to the 6-inch ones and do the same thing, separate those. I love this ribbon with the chenille edge. Okay, and that little short loop in the center, I'm just gonna, where I ended off my ribbon and left that little tail, I'm gonna cut that a little bit shorter. I don't want to cut it so short that it may pull out, but I'm gonna cover up that tail, and I'm just gonna pull that loop over to the center like that. Okay, and then you just kind of fluff your bow till you get it shaped like you want it. And we've got the chenille stem on the back. We'll see if that chenille stem is long enough to secure to the wreath. If it's not, we'll just add another chenille stem to lengthen it. And we're gonna secure, you know, you don't want to put your wreath bow in there where it just squishes down in the mesh. You want it to kind of be on top of the wreath, so you may not can secure it to the work wreath frame. You may have to secure it to one of the twists. Okay, there's our wreath after we finished it. I secured the bow and I was able to go down to the work wreath frame and do that. Now you'll have to hang your wreath and kind of look at your ribbons and fluff them out. And you know, sometimes the best way to know if you've got a hole or anything is to take a picture. And then sometimes things that you won't see, you'll take a picture and you'll go back and think, oh my gosh, how could I miss that? So anyway, it measures about 24 to 26 inches in diameter, and it's going to stay on my front door. Thanks for dropping in. See you next time.